alongside that beta announcement, we also got information on a brand new stage in Marvel Tokon that's called the X-Mansion. This stage consists of many fan favorite X-Men characters like Charles Xavier, Beast, Gambit, Colossus, and a lot more. And it was pretty exciting to see, because who doesn't get excited about X-Men when it comes to a Marvel fighting game, right? But this reveal kind of caused some problems for people. First of all, a lot of people thought that, well, because these characters are in the stage, that means they're most likely to be confirmed for the entire roster, since they're only limited to the stage. And also, this made people worry about the game's roster in general, because so far we've only got a glimpse of a few characters in the game, and there's been no character reveals, and people are expecting that this game is going to release sometime very early 2026. So people are worried that this game is going to have a very small roster, alongside these potential deconfirmations we saw within this stage right here. So that being said, is the Marvel Tokon roster in trouble? Not quite. So first of all, let me go ahead and say this. I understand where everybody is coming from. As an ArcSys player myself, there is no example that I could provide of ArcSys putting in a character that's in a stage that's also playable within the game. ArcSys generally doesn't do that kind of thing. There has been other examples like that in other games like Alex in Street Fighter V, but I feel like with Arc System Works, because of the way how their models work and how long they take to make, I feel like ArcSys only wants to put certain characters in stages and certain characters in the actual roster. So like I said, it's understandable that people will come to this conclusion, but I actually wouldn't go ahead and say these characters are deconfirmed at all. At the end of the day, anything can happen, and Sony is on board to help with the development of this game, so who knows what Sony told them to do. Maybe these characters are just in the stage, but they're also playable. Call it coping if you like, but it's still a possibility. I also want to point out that perhaps we're going to be getting variants of these characters in the roster rather than these specific characters in the stage. For example, in the developer inside trailer they revealed for Marvel Tokon, I remember Sony telling Arc System Works that they wanted ArcSys to make these characters in their own style, meaning that they're going to look very Japanese-ified and all of that. An Arc System Works makeover, if you will. When I look at some of these characters in the stage like Colossus, Charles Xavier, Gambit, and even Beast, these characters look exactly like they do in the comics and in the shows. They don't look like Arc System Works made them with the goal of making an ArcSys style in mind. So that makes me think that there's going to be variants of these characters in the roster instead. They already told us that this particular stage is going to change a lot during battles, so that might be a possibility that this might be a multiverse thing anyways. At the end of the day, this story is going to have a lot of stuff going on to it apparently, so we'll just have to see. We also have to remember that the developers want this game to have a unique roster. A while back in the PlayStation interview, I remember they said they wanted to include characters that have never been in a Marvel fighting game before, and characters who can bring different things to the table, like different archetypes, different styles, etc. So I wouldn't be surprised if some of your fan favorite characters would not make it into the game, unfortunately.